for me to swallow because the podcast is so important for me. So I was going to have to come to terms with saving the amount of money I needed to get a replacement laptop. I did get Nos Vemos en el Swap Meet Luis, who so graciously offered his iPad, but my editing is so tricky. There were just all of these elements. My deeper intuition was asking me to start a GoFundMe account. That was so hard for me. I'm still working on sorting out all of the money issues as I move forward. And because there isn't a real resolve around it, I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I'm just moving through the thick of it. What I am coming to understand is that both what has surfaced for me, which is the money part, and the part of setting boundaries are both tied together. So it's very interesting that I'm going through these two challenges and having to go inward for this. I do want to give a very special thank you to everyone that donated for the laptop. We were able to raise somewhere over, I believe, $2,300. Money came in through the GoFundMe account, and then we got PayPal money over, Venmo money over. I received cash. So I just want to thank you guys so much. We will go into what I learned on the receiving side of money on a future date. I just kind of want to get you caught up with what's going on. So that's one of the things. And the other is I am working on being much more fluid in creating episodes for you all on this podcast. I know how much you enjoy the content. And when the computer messed up and I started dealing with all of these triggers, it was just so hard for me to stay on track. So another one of the lessons that I learned is just to be so much more flexible with myself. If I feel like I need to be speaking on a certain subject, then I need to intuitively listen to that instead of pushing myself to continue recording pieces of a series that I'm not, I guess, ready because it's not coming out of me yet. Life happens, and sometimes I can't follow through with the series exactly how I planned, and I'm having a hard time dealing with that. I struggled so much with the last episode in the Yoni series saying next episode we're going to talk about releasing blockages, and that episode isn't up yet. So I beat myself up because of that. And instead of producing content, I kind of just froze because intuitively I knew that this wasn't what I needed to be speaking on right now. Mostly because we're going through Mercury in retrograde, and something tells me that this is the subject that I need to be focusing on right now because I'm dealing with Mercury in retrograde, and I'm sure that most of you all are as well. And so that is where the inspiration came from to do the last meditative experience in Mercury in retrograde, where it was more of a practice on how to deal with Mercury. And it was something that poured out of me intuitively. My intuition just spoke to me, and I felt like my intuition was actually writing it and was teaching me in the process of what Mercury in retrograde means. So this episode is going to be, really just me catching up with you because so many things have happened. So I went to We All Grow, and I was a speaker at We All Grow. I led a panel called Como Se Podcast with Latinos Who Lunch and Wait Hold Up Podcast. If you haven't checked out those two podcasts yet, do yourself a favor, check them out. Both of them are amazing. And also Nos Vemos en el Swap Meet podcast recorded the entire panel on how to podcast, and he uploaded it onto his podcast. So I'll be sure to link the live panel recording from Nos Vemos en el Swap Meet in the show notes so that you can check that out if you are interested in podcasting. It's a great informative panel where we answer very practical questions on how to get started. And really, we just give action items. I know it can be so overwhelming when you're considering starting a project like a podcast, but we break it down in the panel and make it as easy as possible. So I was also a speaker for the wellness side of We All Grow. This is the first year that they open up a space for the wellness community, which is amazing. I've been to We All Grow for 3 consecutive years, and I loved to watch Ana Flores, who's the CEO, the creatress of We All Grow. I loved to see her open up this beautiful space. And in this space, I got to hold a red tent. This was the very first time that I've gotten to hold a red tent. It was an intention that I set exactly a year ago. And to watch it manifest with We All Grow Latina was really empowering. I met so many incredible women. It was just such a great experience. I am also co-founder of Podcasterio Network. We are a network of brown voices where we not only exchange information, but we also partner up brands with podcasters. We also had a lounge that was presented by Verizon. Shout out to Verizon for investing in us. It was such a great experience. And of course, to We All Grow Latina for hosting us. In our lounge, we had live recordings. We shared the type of equipment that we use to record our podcast. We had an amazing mural that was made by one of our founders, Favi from Latinos Who Lunch. It was just a great space to get more knowledge on podcasting and connect with other podcasts. So overall, We All Grow was just such a dynamic and incredible experience. I love attending every single year. I feel like I get so much growth out of it. Thank you to We All Grow and to Verizon for holding this special space for us. I want to give a special warm welcome to all of our new listeners that have joined us from Latinos Who Lunch episode, the We All Grow episode. I'll also link that episode in the show notes below so you can listen to it. They are my brothers. I love them to death, and they had me as a guest on their podcast. So welcome to all of the Latinos Who Lunch gang that joined the Let There Be Loose tribe. I look forward to growing and expanding with you. And then, of course, also a warm welcome to Dulce Candy's tribe that headed over this way off of a video that she made talking about her experience at my red tent. It was truly an honor to have her. I'm trying to act all cool about it, but it was really more than just an honor to not only have her present, but to have her dedicate what felt like almost an entire video to the experience I created. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Dulce Candy experience, but also all of the positive things that have been happening.
Return to the one.
The truth is that I have been experiencing so much growth and expansion these last couple of months. And as I listened to myself record the introduction, just trying to catch up with you guys, it just felt like there was so much abundance of good things that were happening to me, like getting to be a speaker and doing all of these cool things and being the founder of a podcasting network and receiving $2,300 to buy my laptop. I just really want to take the time and not zoom by all of these experiences that have been taking place that I want to share with you. I want you to know how grateful I am for all of the expansion that is taking place with me. First and foremost, starting with the amount of help that I received to buy the laptop. It was an incredible experience. We had one listener give $500. I had such a hard time asking for the money. It took me really long to get to a place where I thought all I want to do is ask for $10. The episodes that I've created in the past, I think, are worth $10. they're worth so much more than that. And you guys have told me that time and time again. But I was comfortable with accepting a $10 donation towards the laptop. And my hope was that we could get 200 listeners to donate $10 in exchange for the content that I had already recorded, which was 17 episodes. But when I started to see donations come in for $20, for $50, for $100, for $500, it was so much for me to process. It was almost too much for me to process. It really made me realize how much reevaluating I have to do. One of the goals that I have set for myself in 2018 is to be able to monetize off of Let There Be Luz. This means that I want to turn Let There Be Luz brand into a full functioning business where I can make money, but I can also hire other women that are aligned with the Let There Be Luz intention in order to help other women and men, because men listen to this podcast as well, help them align with their true selves and teach them how to trust their own intuition. That is the intention of this podcast. As I look back to where I was exactly 1 year ago, I was in a very dark space, a space where I was reevaluating everything, what my intent was, what I wanted to do. I was really just seeking to live my life with purpose, and I was trying to find where my vehicle of purpose was, and I was lost and I was looking for it and I couldn't really find it. And when I did find it, I couldn't get inside the vehicle. I couldn't get the car started. I couldn't go. It just took so long to get to where I am today. All it took is for me to listen to my intuition without worrying about what other people were going to think. Once I began to do that and fully understand what it meant to follow my intuition completely, my entire life began to change. And that happened when I started to learn about the moon cycle and the power we have during that week. This is all real time. As I speak to you, these transformations, all of these things that are happening and manifesting is all real time. I also want to talk to you a little bit about the plans that I have moving forward with my healings. I am no longer going to be doing healings for donation-based only. This is so hard for me to say. It's taken me months. I've known for about 3 months that I wasn't going to take donations past March. And even talking about it today, I mean, here we are, April 2nd, and I'm barely speaking about this now. Moving forward, a healing is going to have a karmic exchange of $75. The reason why I've moved away from donation-based healings, which is something that I said I wouldn't do, that I wanted to make this accessible and affordable to everybody, was I realized during the last 4 months that I was actually doing a disservice to my community, because a lot of the women that I was working with, they weren't invested in the healing process. And in order for a healing or something like this to actually work, there needs to be an exchange in energy. This isn't speaking for all of the women that I worked on. There were many women that went above and beyond, showed up, and they were ready. But I did find myself in circumstances where I was just being drained of the energy that I was putting in, and nothing was being reciprocated, not even a thank you. That was really hard for me to cope with, because I could literally feel my energy being sucked out of me without any reciprocation. I also want to be clear that there were women that didn't have the financial means to make a donation, but I could feel their gratitude. And I truly received so much satisfaction in that gratitude. And I knew that it would come back to me. But when I was left feeling empty, that was when I knew that I had to begin to draw the line. And just to give you guys a little bit more of clarification on pricing, Normally, pranic healers charge about $160 for this service. $75 is the price that I'm comfortable with right now, and having the experience of doing this kind of work for a year and working with over 100 women. When I work with women, the stories that I hear back on all of the transformation and the healing that they're receiving, it's incredible to hear. And I know that I truly have a gift. And in order for myself to continue to expand and continue to be able to create, then there needs to be exchange. I can't continue to do it for no charge. I'm also going to start coaching. I'm really excited about this. In the last 9 months, I've been able to watch myself manifest so many incredible experiences. And I want to be able to take a deep dive with women and be able to coach them through their intentions. This is something that was already taking place in the healings. So what was happening was that after I was healing a woman, we were having exchange in conversation, and there was a lot of coaching taking place after the healings. And mind you, all of this was on a donation basis, and it really propelled me and gave me the experience and the confidence to know that I am ready to turn the coaching side into a business that is sustainable. What was really interesting was that before I even announced that I would be coaching, I had women privately message me and ask if I could coach them. So I began coaching them, and I began to charge my worth. It was incredible to see what I wanted to manifest come into fruition before even putting it out into the universe. I was already attracting it, which was a validation for me that I was definitely ready to take this to the next level. And the experience of the laptop further validated that while I was preparing to become a coach and do all of these other things that I have planned for 2018, that there was still an area that I needed to work on, and that was the receiving part. That was asking an exchange for the energy and the healing that I'm putting out there. And this is so necessary. And with this, I want to be able to empower anyone that is listening, anyone that is interested in being a coach, that is interested in being a healer, to not be afraid to value yourself, because I was definitely afraid to do that. I didn't think I was worth it, and I am worth it. And I can't teach you expansion if I'm not doing the same for myself. So with everything that has been manifesting, it has been absolutely incredible. I'm refining during this Mercury in retrograde. I give thanks for it. We're going to take another quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the incredible full moon hike that we had this past weekend during Mercury in retrograde. We're also going to wrap up the Dulce Candy story, and I'm also going to give you a little bit of Mercury in retrograde work to do.
Return to the one. Return to the one.
This past weekend, we had the very first Let There Be Luz pilgrimage. I have done this pilgrimage before with just friends to test it out, work out any kinks that needed to be worked out, get feedback. And we finally were able to experience it with the listeners. It was absolutely amazing. We did it under the full blue moon. The moon was intense. It was absolutely gorgeous. And the energy was incredible. It was more than what I could have ever asked for. We made our way up the hill, and as soon as we got to the top of the hike, we were able to enjoy the beautiful full blue moon. There were healing exercises that took place. I did do some one-on-one healings with each of the women that attended, and we also had a photography session with Pam Covarrubios. Pam is an amazing documentary photographer. I absolutely love her work. She documented everything. So while women were going through their healing sessions, they got to have a photograph just to capture that moment of transformation. And then we enjoyed the sunrise. We meditated. I had the attendees do some writing exercises that are going to actually continue all the way through Mercury in retrograde on intention setting for the second quarter of the year. So some really cool stuff. I know it sold out right away. I do want to ask you to follow Let There Be Luz on Instagram because that is where I post all of these events. By the time I get to an episode or recording an episode, it's already sold out. So it's not easy for me to send out the announcement via the episodes. Hopefully in the future, we will get to expand a little more and have bigger events. But I do want to invite you to follow us on Instagram if you aren't already. That's where I normally post about the events first. And then I just wanted to really share the Dulce Candy story. I am a big Dulce Candy fan. If you're not sure who Dulce Candy is, she's a really big YouTuber. She was one of the pioneers of YouTube. She was one of the first Latinas. I just really love her. I love her vulnerability. I started watching her on YouTube when she was pregnant with her son, and I went back and binged every single one of her episodes. I fell in love with her and her vulnerability. She's a pioneer when it comes to demonstrating her vulnerability to large audiences. She's not afraid. She is actually extremely courageous to share exactly how she's feeling. And I really appreciate that about her. Just spending years binging her videos on YouTube, it was really incredible, as you can imagine, to have her attend the Red Tent. In the morning while I was getting ready for the Red Tent, I actually took the time to envision Dulce Candy joining the Red Tent. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if she joined? And after I thought that, I took the moment to just envision her arriving and envision her go through the entire Red Tent process. And then I immediately let the vision go. And I firmly believe that that is the key to manifesting, is when you let something go. Sometimes it's really hard for us to let go of a vision that we want to see manifest. We gnaw on it like a dog with a bone. We just keep chewing on it and chewing on it. And instead of manifesting, what we are doing is we're focusing on the lack that we don't have it. So when I envisioned it, it felt to me as if it already took place, and it didn't matter if she actually showed up or not. I had already had the experience in my head. As the day proceeds and I show up to fix my red tent, she's one of the first to arrive, and she's probably thought I was weird because I immediately started crying and was like, oh my gosh, I had a vision of you showing up and now you're here. And it was just, I had just this real raw moment of, you're here. It happened. It happened. I attracted you, or we attracted each other. I'm not certain. It just was such a powerful moment for me. And to take it a step further, it was incredible to watch a video that she made where she's talking about me after spending so many years watching her videos. It was such a crazy experience. And I am having more and more experiences like these. It's becoming my normal life. Like, it's not even a surprise anymore. Although it still is. I still, drop to my knees. I still cry, but it's just happening faster and faster and faster. And I love that I'm able to share and document this journey with you, because all I want for all of you is to be able to tap into your internal power, your gift, and be able to do the same. Be able to live a life that is full of magic and gifts and blessings and happiness and joy. Oh, I have one more announcement to make. So many things. I just want to have a moment of celebration because Let There Be Luz has their first team member, Carissa Raya. Thank you for joining the team. I look forward to an exchange in energy, and I just want to say welcome and Thank you for the work that you're doing. I appreciate it, and I know that the listeners are going to appreciate it as well. For this week's work, we're going to call it Mercury in retrograde work. What I would like to encourage you to do is to pick a space in your home and do a meditation in action. So basically, I want you to organize a part of your home, whether it's your closet, whether it's under the bathroom sink, whether it's, a room, whatever the space may be. But I want you to try to do your best and empty out all of your thoughts. Every time you think of something, try to quiet your mind, be present, and organize. I have found this to be extremely helpful during this Mercury in retrograde. I started with a little piece of my house, and it somehow turned into a full project for the entire home, and I feel so good about it. So I just want to set that in motion. If your intuition aligns with what I'm saying, then execute it. Of course, like always, you don't have to take any of my suggestions. Thank you so much for joining me today, just catching up with me, having this little chit chat. I feel like we don't do this often enough, and I'm going to try to do these a little more often where we just chill and there's no, intense information coming at you. I love you guys. Please don't forget to jump on iTunes if you haven't already. Rate us, give us 5 stars, not 2. I don't know who gave us 2, but don't play. Also, just a reminder that the healings are live as of whenever this episode uploads. We have a limited space. Only proceed with the healing if your intuition is calling you to do so. May your light within get stronger. Till next time.